Welcome to Conversations with Character. I am here with ATG, bro. He is an independent artist and also a magician. Let's get into it, bro. How old are you? Where are you from?
I am 26, about to be 27, and I am from originally Dayton, Ohio.
Okay. Where are you at now?
I'm currently in Covington, Ohio, which is a little bit north, about 30 minutes north of that. So, I ain't no telling where I'm about to move to. I ain't no telling where I'm about to go, but hopefully I'm just going up from here, you know?
No doubt, bro. Man, tell me how you ended up being an artist and a magician. What was your childhood like?
It was probably normal. I would say normal. I'm an artist. I ended up doing music probably, my first song was probably in like 2010 maybe. And so when you're an artist and you don't have anybody to record you, what you end up doing is you start recording yourself. And so what that made me turn into was an engineer. So I'm currently working out of Raise the Bar in Dayton, Ohio right now. And so, and as far as the magic is concerned, that probably happened in 6th grade. I know I had a teacher, she showed the class a trick. And it was really a self-working one. So it wasn't like a move to see. It wasn't like a something hit. It was literally going to work every single time. So it was mathematical. So she showed it to us. She showed it to me. She showed it to everybody. And it just it stuck with me for some reason. It stuck with me. And so what I did was I went home. And then I think I went to YouTube or something like that. And that's when my first trick, you learn your first trick off of YouTube. So I had to go back the next day and I was like, hey, I got this. And I still know the first trick I learned to this day. That's where my path, I guess that's where it started for me, is when my teacher showed us a trick in 6th grade.
Hell yeah. And you're a professional vocal engineer at a studio, you said, right?
Yeah. I be trying to get more clients. I'm definitely trying to kick it in the overdrive because I'm working. Last year was definitely an artist year for me. So trying to find that balance, and I'm definitely trying to get more in the studio and definitely get more clientele for sure.
No doubt, bro. What'd you do after high school age?
Work. I had a lot of, I don't know, I feel like if I would have went to college for something, it probably would have veered me off the path I'm on.
Yep.
And I definitely, there's been things that I've gotten very lucky to be, where I'm at and how I got, in the studio, for instance, how I got there. I just, right place, right time. It's just, who knows? If I had a regret, that's probably one thing. If I had to regret anything, I probably would have went to college because I could have been, I was very athletic. So, there's just a lot of things that I probably didn't see me doing consistently. Right now, I feel like I'm 80. So if I was in 40, I say 40. But if I played football all throughout high school and then went to college, I don't know how I feel. I probably wouldn't be able to walk. So, I definitely feel like there's a plus side to it. But then again, if everything went my way, my life would be completely different. So, it definitely going into working, and then that definitely set me. That's why I did after high school. But it's a good thing and bad thing, because who knows where I'd be if I didn't.
No, absolutely, man. Life has a funny way of putting you where you're supposed to be, for real.
All right.
Did you focus on the magic after high school, or did you get more into the music, or has it been kind of both the same?
It's really been both. It's been both, but at the same time, I used to just pick one up and then put the other one down and pick the other one up. It used to be back and forth. Now I'd probably say I'm more of I do it all, but I sometimes forget I do magic. So it's I didn't really do it often, and I prefer the music over the magic. But I'd be a lot better if I did it every day. Professional magicians do it every day. They practice every day. They might even create every day. I don't do that. If I got a deck of cards in my hand, it's just to fiddle with it while I might be in the studio working on something and I got a deck of cards in my hand. You know what I mean? So right now, I so it's almost always at the ready. So But going back and forth, I do more music now than I do magic, but I definitely am trying to get back into it.
I would love to hear a song about being a magician. That would be the most unique thing.
The idea was to do a song called Magic and have like do magic in the video. Like I did like a mic drop, like probably like in like August. And I had a deck of cards in my hand and I was just kind of playing with them. But that wasn't the idea. I just had that idea at the shoot because I knew I had it in the car somewhere. So I was like, let me just grab them. But that wasn't necessarily the goal. But the goal is to do like an actual song called Magic with actual magic in the video.
That would be badass, for real. That would be badass. I mean, you're just a straight up entertainer. I feel like the love just comes from love to entertain, it seems like.
Yeah, it's definitely, I can be very standoffish and like not speak, and then you put a deck of cards in my hand and then boom, I'm the life of the party, you know? So very quiet sometimes. Sometimes I'm not, sometimes I am. And then like put me in front of a crowd, give me a microphone, give me a deck of cards, and I'm on like that. So
tell me that story. You said you were just in the right place, right time to get this engineering job. Like tell me what that whole story.
So it's a studio called Raise the Bar. Definitely y'all gotta tap in with me. Let's get to work. Let's get some work in. So I used to go with a guy I work with. Shout out Sawell. I used to go with him as just we were friends, we worked together. I'm just kind of tagging along, right? And the engineer there, the head engineer there, his name is Russell. Shout out Russell. And he, I don't know, I just like talking to him, and I, doing this at home for so many years. That's kind of told him like what I do, how I do it. He was just impressed, I guess. And so like the first time, it was interning, and I sent like songs to whomever, I think the owner, whoever heard it, I don't know who heard it, but they sent me an email back like, maybe not yet, you're probably not ready yet, but maybe an internship here in the future. And I was like, all right, whatever. I kept working, I guess, but it didn't really hinder me, it didn't really stop me. Yeah. And so we fast forward, I don't know, a year and a half, who knows. I'm going to the studio session with that guy again, Sawell, and then I talked to the head engineer. All I knew was this. All I knew was I wanted to book a session. I was probably going through a tough time at the time. I was going through some things. All I wanted to do was book a session. That's the only thing I knew. I said, hey, Russell, we can book it. As engineer to engineer, we can talk, shoot shit, whatever. You know what I mean? That was the goal. So when I get there, I didn't have anything to record. But at the time, my brother came through, shout out S.E. Jones. We recorded a song, I think it's called No Space. It was also our project Love Jones. We dropped it in February of last year on Valentine's Day. He just recorded his verses to that, and that's all I really had to do. Little did I know, the owner of the studio walks in. And she walks in, and Russell, the head engineer, just has me sit in the chair now. I'm sitting next to him. Now I'm sitting in the chair. The engineer,
that chair feels like a throne, bro.
It does. So then I did what I did. I'm very knowledgeable. He's asking me questions. I'm telling him. And then she sees that, and she was like, I had no idea you were this knowledgeable. Shout out Dawn. But I was like, oh, okay. So then she hands me the paper for the internship. And next thing you know, I'm interning probably a couple of weeks after that. And a few months after that, I'm a full-time engineer. So
wow.
Whether he set that up, I don't know. I don't know if he knew she was, I don't know, but I was in the right place at the right time. And so that's like a third family to me. If you know who I am, you'll know why I said third. But right now, when I guess I sat down with her for the first time, get some paperwork and stuff done, I told her where I lived at. I told you where I lived at. And I found out that the head engineer, Russell, lives 5 minutes away from me right now.
Wow.
He's been living 5 minutes away from me for the last, 5 years. And we didn't know it. Even when I was in there in 2021 and 2020, I didn't know he was 5 minutes away from my house. So it's kind of how this all kind of comes full circle. So
that's crazy.
It's very crazy.
No doubt, bro. You're essentially a self-taught engineer. I mean, you only interned for a little bit. Did you learn a lot in the internship?
Well, the internship, it was more so like, because they got people got the interfaces at home and stuff. They have outboard gear, which is what I'm literally looking at in front of me. They have outboard gear, so it was learning how to use that and how they use it. and opening up the studio, closing it down, certain things like that, how certain things operate when you get a song mastered from a client, how you go through about that like it was all that was kind of what I was learning. As far as like engineering, that was kind of already new. That wasn't new. Setting up the my template, getting a new template, because like they don't have everything I have at the studio here, like plugin wise, like on the computer. So I had to set a new template up, and then learn how to like I said, close the studio up and down. How, where certain things are. That was really what I had to learn mainly. But interning I already had it down. I feel like I could have interned first day, but like learning how their process works, what they like to do, how they like things, and that was kind of what I had to learn. And then I kind of sat in on a couple sessions with some people, and okay, this is how a client would want this, and you would want this, but like I said, the client's always right. That's what they always say. It's always feeding to them, and it's just like, okay, seeing that and learning that is kind of what I had to. That's what I feel like I had to intern. And so, any questions I had about the gear or how they used it or whatever, those were answered, so interning like that helped me, get a sense of how they like to do things and how we like to do things now. And that was really what the intern was for. As far as mixing and, running a session and knowing how to use Pro Tools and all that, I was kind of I already had that down pat, so.
Hell yeah. Now you said one thing I got to ask you about. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you said that's your third family. If that's why, if you know why you call it the third. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so I was adopted. So I have my biological family, my adopted family, and then my studio raised the bar family. So that's why the third family comes into play.
How old were you when you were adopted?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I feel like it's been all my life. So, because like my actual family doesn't know. They have memories of me back in the day. I don't. I don't have memories of me with them at all. But they do. So it could have been, I don't know. I feel like it was around 2 months or 2 years, somewhere around. That's what my mom used to tell me. I don't know yet, but I couldn't be for sure. But it's around that time. But I've been with this family all my life. So my actual brother he's S.E. Jones. He's the one that I do music with.
Oh, wow.
I never do it. So like I said, it's very doing what I'm doing, and then what he does is just like it all kind of comes hand in hand. I didn't know I don't even know if he did music until later, probably when I was, I don't know, 14, maybe 15. But when I started, I didn't know he did music or did anything like that. And so when I started, and I was really bad for the longest time. Some might say I'm still bad. But I finally came into my own, and that's when I feel like at some point, maybe a few years ago, he started, like, what we just started doing just started meshing really well together. So, but as far as doing that, it's been all my life I had to fight. He said all my life. So it's been like very, very, it's a very interesting concept in my life, I guess, and how my family dynamic is, I guess. So
it is. Yeah. It is for sure. So S.E. Jones is your actual blood brother.
Yeah, that's Big Jones. So it ain't no mix up,
Did you have a relationship with him when you were a kid? Like I know, you found out. No, wow.
I got to call on my birthday every year. That's when they would really reach out to me. So, but given the circumstances, I get it.
Sure.
I see now, but it was as a kid, we didn't grow up together. So we grew up probably about 30, 40 minutes apart. So
wow.
Same state, but it was just, I never really went with they never really came up where I was. It was just how it was. So,
man, the fact that y'all are both artists and you connected later in life and everything, that's like nature versus nurture at its finest, for real. Like, y'all, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and my whole family, I feel like my whole family's music inclined. We got Dono Band, shout out Dono. He's an artist. He just dropped his tape. My cousins rap. Both my other cousins rap. My sister could probably sing, but she ain't really playing it with it like that. She ain't really in it like that. But my whole family has got it. So my brother, rock solid urban tech, he'd be building PCs. He used to play with the beats a little bit, like a long time ago. He could probably maybe cook up something. So my whole family does. Like if we all came together, we'd be the next dynasty. I feel like it would be insane.
Hell yeah. What do you consider your biggest accomplishments?
My biggest accomplishments. the joke is I've always wanted to get passive income. They always talk about passive income and making money while you're sleeping. And until you do that, that's when you become successful. Well, I can officially say that I now make passive income. And the joke is I take vacation from work. So I'm sleeping, but I'm still making money because it's a paid vacation. Okay, that's my passive income. No, my biggest accomplishment, that's tough. I feel like where I'm at now in life, I was told by like, somebody told me very close to me. They said, the person you wanted to be at 18, you are right now. And, you know, when somebody said that, you just say it and you don't think about it, but that's how I think about it. I'm like, yep. Like, damn near got the car I wanted, like, to the point where, like, having an actual, like, 9 to 5 and then being in the studio, if I had, like, once I, you know, either get the clients or I just want to cut off one income, I could literally just make music for a living. I've got, you know, my own crib, my own this, you know. There's a lot of things that I wanted at 18 that I have now and that I do. So, like, he is right. And that's, how many people can say that they're the person they wanted to be at 18, you know?
Especially not at 26, for real.
And at 26, it's not like I'm 35 or, you know, but by no means am I content. So I'm definitely not done. And the truth is, you know, once you hit that goal, then, you know, you extend the finish line even further. And so based off of what I want to do now, I'm nowhere near where I want to be at. But at 18, I'm damn near exactly where I wanted to be at 18. So, but now it's just trying to, you know, progress and keep it going.
Absolutely, man. And by the time you're 35, you will be the person you wanted to be at 26.
Hopefully, yeah. That's the goal, you know, and it's never ending. It's just like, I can never stop.
No doubt, bro. No doubt, man. What about the biggest obstacles you've had to overcome?
Probably, like, right now, just being like, I would say my mom passing was probably the hardest thing I had to overcome. Because that is something that, based off of how old she was, and in my head, I know it's gonna happen eventually. I didn't want to be at home when it did. I didn't want to be around when it did. And so I ended up moving out, but I didn't move too far. I'm still 5 minutes away. And even when you know, like, they're getting older, your parents are getting older, even though you know, she helped you out in every way she could, and you were like her youngest son and all this other stuff. And you know, she's got 8 other kids to, you know, be there for or whatever. And you know, all this stuff. And it still happens and she passes and you're still not, and you're just not ready. It's not fair. And so it's still, you know, kind of sometimes you think about it and it's just like, because I've never really, like, people have died in my life, you know, family members. But that one just hit me different. You know, I didn't really cry for anybody else, but that one kind of got me. Obviously, right? But it's just hard to think, it's hard to fathom, like, well, you know what's gonna happen, and then when it happens, you're still not ready for it, you know. And that's the concept that even, like, you know, it's just like I felt alone for long. Like, after she passed, I have my brother next door to me. I have other family. I can call my other brother like that, and he'll probably answer, like, but I still felt alone. And so all I can remember is, like, feeling alone, and I was dreaming. I was in a dream. I was asleep on the couch. I just felt alone. And so I feel like I was crying and I was mad and I was upset. I just felt this aloneness, right? I felt alone. And then I felt someone tap on my shoulder, right? And that was in my dream, and I got scared, and then I woke up. But, like, to me, that was her way of letting me know that I'm not alone, you know? So it's scary because I've never, like, experienced things like that. And it's like, you might have heard people talk about things like that and you don't believe it's whatever, it's what it is, but then it happens to you and you're like, all right, I think I'm gonna be okay, you know. I feel alone, and then somebody taps me on my shoulder. Okay. So I just feel like, yeah, she's always watching. She's making sure I don't mess up. And so it's definitely, but the initial shock of it, even though it's not a shock, but it was like, well, it's real now. That was probably the hardest thing. Because, like, you don't do anything for 2 months. I didn't do anything for 2 months. So all the other family members had to go back to work and had to go, but for me, it was just like, it's hard to get over that, even though you know it was about to happen. So.
Yeah. Now, how old were you?
26. It happened in July. It happened in July.
Damn, I'm sorry to hear about that, bro. When you talk about the tapping on your shoulder, I got chills everywhere. So that's got to mean something too.
Yeah,
but it's true though.
It's very scary.
Like my grandpa passed a few years ago, and I wasn't even close with my grandpa. I'm not gonna lie, and he was in bad health for a lot of years. Like, we were all ready for it for years, and then I got the phone call and found out, and I felt like I got hit by a train. You cannot prepare for a family member's passing. Like, you cannot mentally be ready for it. It's true.
Right. Now, if your third cousin passes, it might sting a little less. But it's like your mom, the one that raised you, the one that put food on your back and clothes on the table. No, the one that she was there for every day. I saw her almost every day. Even when I moved to Columbus at the time, still came back because I still worked where I worked. So I still came back on my days I worked and stayed with her. So even when I was gone, I still seen her. So like, I damn near saw her every day, and then you could call her at any time. She would call you in the next room. Can you come out here? I'm in the next room. She still call me. And then as many times as I left the phone, go to voicemail, or didn't answer, and just now I got voicemails of her, and it's just like, it definitely puts it in perspective when you go back and listen to her when she's not here. And so what was I doing so busy? Probably ignored her on purpose. And it's just like, that's all she wanted to do was sit down and talk to me, and I couldn't even do it. All she wanted to do was sit down and have a conversation. What was I doing so busy that I couldn't? Of course I was busy, but I mean, what's 20 minutes? What's 10 minutes? So things we could do over again. I probably have a couple things I changed, but as long as I know that she's still watching me, because somebody's always got my back and tapping on my shoulder. So
what's the dream? What's the big thing you want to accomplish?
Basically, I have a goal of, I definitely want to get in the studio more, at least this year. And it kind of like, well, do I want to be an engineer? Do I want to be an artist? Well, I want to be both. So definitely having my career take off, whether music-wise, whether it be in engineering or as an artist, that's kind of the goal. It's a dream of mine, but if we're talking big picture, we're doing all that. We're doing comedy, we're acting, we're producing. I'm trying to get into I'm in the studio, behind the mic, in front of the mic, and now I'm trying to get in front of the camera and behind the camera. So I'm definitely trying. People tell me all the time, you need to go on a TV show, man. I'm like, I don't know about it. You really couldn't get an acting. I probably could, because I'm very serious, but then I can be kidding. I can turn it on and off at a moment's notice, but I definitely want to get into acting and, have like a show or something. A dream of mine would be a nationally syndicated TV show. So I'm always making money off of that. And a studio that I own, that I'm working out of, that I like to rent to other people, like big clients. I'm talking clients on tour. I got a studio for them to, stop by when they're on tour. Problem is, they're going to be paying $300 an hour versus $60 an hour or $40 an hour because they got that bag. So then a lot of them come with their own engineer and their own producer. Cool. I just gave you the keys, gave you the space. I'm making $300 an hour. I'm like, that's kind of all that, everything, all of that is kind of the dream. So it's possible.
Damn right it is, bro. Damn right. Now, this badass hat, we talked a little bit about it before the interview, man. Tell me about this hat. Like, where do you even get something like that? It's so damn cool.
I bought it online, I think. I just like these type of hats. I do like these type of hats. I wish the brim was bigger, but my inspiration for it, I think my brother gave me my first hat, which is like a fedora. Long time ago, a few years ago, probably like 27. I don't remember when it was. And it was cool. I liked it, but it didn't really stick. And then I'll be watching. I just watched wrestling, so I watched The Undertaker, and so I see that, and I like this whole, like, me going back through his career and trying to watch what he did and what he said and how it was, and I'm just like, that is the greatest character in wrestling that wrestling has ever seen, and he's got the hat, so then that's where the hats came from, and sometimes I walk slow, like I'm gonna murder you. That's what I comes from. I got the long coats. I wear those long coats. That's where that comes from. Just some of my mannerisms that I do sometimes, that's where that comes from. So I don't want to hear Future. I don't want to hear none of that. I'm telling you right now, that's where my inspiration comes from. So I just, you know, I saw a hat like that. I got a hat like this and put it on, and it's been my thing ever since. And people know me now. My sister was telling me she was talking to me on the phone, and they were like, "Is that the guy with the hats?" I'm like, "Well, I've done my job now, so I'm good." So yeah, that's where everything kind of stuck. And you know, they said red is my color. They like me in the red one. I have a red one I wear. And they're like, the red one is the best one. So.
Hell yeah, bro. I'm not cool enough to pull something like that off. I wish I was, but I'm not that cool.
Well, it teaches on. Anybody can do it. It's just confidence, you know?
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. What about the name? What's ATG?
Alexander the Great. So when I was...
Oh, shit.
My mom gave me the middle name Alexander. Looking around. It's me. It is what it is. But to do that, I feel like it's universal, so I can use that in magic, I can use that in music, I can use that as an engineer, I can use that as acting. I can use it everywhere I go. So that's kind of where it comes from, is the name Alexander the Great. I just feel like I'm the greatest at everything I choose to do seriously.
Conquer the world.
Literally the goal.
Hell yeah. What do you got coming up?
Oh man, probably this morning I just did 2 verses for I got a feature with Sawell, so I did that. There's an artist named Hollow Safe. I did a verse for him. He's more in hyper pop, so it's kind of cool to see how I try to be universal, like that Ty Dolla $ign. I'm not gonna say no to it, especially if I can find the lyrics or melody to it. I'll do anything. So I got that coming up. I got a guy in Columbus, Ty. It's Ty. We got a project coming up. We're working on that EP. It's I feel like we're done recording. And we're pretty much getting the mixes and the masters ready and putting everything together. I just dropped a song, didn't tell nobody. Surprise. It's called Handsome. It's out everywhere. It's called Handsome. Hopefully I got the video for that coming up. I got this project with, round 2 with Essie Jones. Me and Essie Jones, Love Jones. I feel like we're trying to get that going. I've got another project with a guy, Jay the Hunter. This project's been in the works for probably like 3 or 4 years now. And it's some of my best work up to date at the time when we started it. And so that's a whole, I don't know, it's probably like 10, 15 tracks. That's a whole project coming. So I've got a lot of stuff I'm working on. I got this other project with this girl. She's out in Indiana. She's from Indiana. Just incredible talent. Raw, unedited, just uncut. She's got it. So working with her, I'm trying to produce for her, and we're trying to, make a little project together. So we're probably 2 songs in right now, and then they're out of here. So it's definitely, I don't tell people about it because I'm trying to hide her from the world. I don't want no one to know who she is yet until she's, showcased herself. But I'm working on all these things at the same time on top of my own projects, and it's just, I'm very busy. There's never a day, I can never say I ain't got nothing to record, because I always do. So all that simultaneously. Eddie Bars, I got a song with him coming out. Chosen, So this hip hop artist guy, I work in the studio as an engineer. He's got an album due in May, so I guess he said, "Hey man, I'm getting signed, and they want a record, they want an album by May." So I'm like, "Oh, everything that he's released, I guess so far, singles doesn't count. So we're definitely getting back in there. So we gotta get an album done by May. So I'm very very busy. I feel like in the studio. So
Yeah.
that's everything I got, everything I just said is kind of what I'm working on simultaneously, I guess.
So I mean, you got a lot of collabs coming. You got a lot of collabs. Now,
Yes.
For independent artists that are watching, what value do you find in collabs? Because that's something I'm always telling independent artists to do is just get features, get features, get features. What value do you find in that?
Personally, I'm lazy, so I can do a verse and a hook, and I don't feel like doing this verse. But it's just networking for real. I mean, I can do a song like the fact that I said Ty and you knew exactly who that was.
Hell
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Hell
So, man, he's great, man. He's dope. And he's a really cool guy too.
He is though. He is. Him and Eddie Bars, bro. I interviewed Eddie Bars too. They're great people.
For sure. And so it's just like a team. It's like a team behind us. So like he's so personable to me, and he's very knowledgeable in what he does.
Yeah.
At the same time, he's respectful, and you can sit there and talk to him about anything, especially we can shoot the shit for an hour about music and engineering. And so that's dope to see. But then you find out I seen him on Instagram first, and when I reached out to him, I went to Columbus to his studio. Of course, I got my own home studio, and then I work at a commercial studio. So it's just seeing all that and bouncing ideas off of each other. And, I think he just got some new equipment too. So I'm not going to say I had anything to do with that, but, he's definitely serious about his craft. And I love that. And so he's making those investments to do this and do that. And there's nothing but up from here. So but if I didn't reach out and do a collaboration with him or, a feature with him and this EP we're doing, this is I probably wouldn't know who you were.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't know who Eddie is. I wouldn't be tapped in, and I wouldn't know these people because word is bond. So when you talk to, I got this guy in Columbus, his name is Ty, I do this, we did this, and his fiance, Leslie, she did the one interview I did. That's when people even realized I did magic. So, and it's for her to highlight that, I didn't expect it. And that's true. People will see it. Was that real? It's real. Because I didn't know they was about to, I didn't know she was about to ask me that. I didn't know he was about to bring a deck of cards out. I didn't know any of this was about to happen. And so I was like, oh, okay. So this is what we're doing now. So it was just how to it was literally everything, and reaching out and branching out and networking. And then you get people in the studio that I work with that are Christian hip hop artists. And then next thing you know, boom, I'm doing a Christian hip hop record, which I have too. I've done one with Chosen One Original. We have a song out called Holy Ghost. And that was because, I don't know, it was just time. It was just time. My mom always wanted it. And when I asked him about it, he was like, bro, let's do it, bro. I was like, oh my gosh, my mom's gonna lose her mind. And unfortunately, she passed before it could happen. But so now it's just but if I didn't make that connection or reach out, then I wouldn't even did it. And every time he's recording somewhere, he's always telling who you record, he's always shouting me out. And I've had Russell come through the studio, and Russell's the head engineer. So anytime I record at the studio, if I have an artist come through and I'm doing a feature for them, I prefer to do it either at home or at the studio. If you want to be there, I'll do it at the studio and we can do it together. I'll be there when you do it, right? And when I have it, I raise the bar, and I usually have Russell come in and engineer it. He'll just record me, really. I'll still mix it, but you have Russell come through and he can engineer me. Working with Russell is probably the one engineer that I like to work with. If I do work with somebody as an artist, only to take that. But it's always a reason why. So if I'm working with somebody as an artist and I want someone to engineer it, I usually have Russell. Russell's my go-to guy. The communication and learning from him too is just how to communicate with, and just me and his communication in two different rooms, mind you, because we have a control room and a booth. So I can talk to him, he can talk to me, and everything, that the communication is so solid right there. So, and even if I didn't, I try to, just based off of how I got, like I said, I got into the position I was in, I got lucky. I feel like he had a very instrumental part in that. And I told him that. I said, I'm forever in debt to you. He's like, really? I'll remember that. I was like, okay. But I just feel like there's a lot of things. I try to cut him in on certain things that I can because, he's very, and just in the studio alone, like, I feel like you're coming in to get, when you book a session with me at Raise the Bar, it's like, we've got the lineage. You're obviously going to get a good sound and a good quality, but I feel like what we have that other people don't is like, we have the lineage. Our engineers have had stuff on the radio, have had stuff on TV shows like Catfish. Like Russell has made music for Catfish that's been on the show. So like all that, and then you can still get a fire hook from me or a verse or not. Like some people I don't even tell I do music when I engineer them. It depends on if I say something, I say something. If I don't, I don't. But sometimes it's all about you. And then I might mention it maybe at the beginning. If it's a new client, I might say something. I never met you before. I might say something about it. But then they've even asked me, like, so what, you got music too, right? Yeah, and then I'll play them something. So, but if I don't talk and I don't branch out and some of these opportunities wouldn't happen. So it's definitely about networking and just getting your name and your brand and your sound in front of more people. And especially with Ty, it's just like seeing what he's doing and liking it, and you just want to be a part of it. And then just how our first song came about was like, it was fire, but it came out so effortlessly, and it just working together was so easy, and everything was just so much. It was so easy working with him, and it's so fun working with him. He's so dope that he really introduced me to Eddie and obviously Leslie and the whole team. So like, if I didn't reach out that first time, who knows? I definitely probably wouldn't have known anybody that kind of I've been introduced to. So it's very important because you never know who you'll run into, and you'll never know the relationships you can build, and you'll never know the reach you could extend. And especially when now we're teaming up together and we're doing all these things together, it's just like, it's so much better because it takes a village. It really does take a village.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's just, if they don't know who you are and you don't reach out, you'll never probably see the potential you could see if you have the team behind you and things like that. So
absolutely. And for every artist or producer or podcast or whatever that you work with, you pick up some of their fans and following. It's beneficial to you. It's combining your all's powers for real.
Right. And it's definitely like that. But then just having, and like personally, like especially like Ty as a dude, he's cool. He's really cool. He's really personable. And there's a lot of things because his experiences, he could definitely sit down. He could tell me something like, okay, well, I went through this, you can do this. And it's just kind of figuring out a way together. I mean, he asks me things about engineering and mixing all the time. So the question, I'm like, yes. And he, that interface, that he just got some new gear. He was just asking me about it because I have it sitting in front of me right now. And I told him I got it. And then he decided to get it. So then when he got it, he called me and said, hey, I have a question. I got the signal coming, but I can't hear nothing. It's coming, but I just can't hear it. I'm like, over the phone, I was like, is it on mic or line? It's on mic. It's supposed to be a line level. He switches the line and you can hear it. All right. So like that relationship and me being a phone call away.
Yep.
For things like that, when you can ask me about engineering or mixing, anything gear-wise, I feel like that's what we can bounce off of each other. You can ask me that, and I might ask you something about life in general, just because the experiences and things he's went through, or anybody really can show you and teach you something. So it's just having that friend and that brother, that we're also in the trenches with, we're working together, and he's definitely people that do that with. I've done that with. Some people like do music, and some people do it for fun, but I feel like he's really about it. And so we can definitely sit there and talk for 2 hours just about engineering music, how he does things, how I do things, And it's just, without that, it's just like, I could definitely text him about a new plugin that I got, or he'll text me about something new that he got. And so I am about to hit him up because this morning I was working with something and I definitely got to talk to him about it. So it's definitely just that camaraderie and that, that the same people going to the same goal, working towards the same thing as hard as each other. Like, that's hard to find. People can do it. And some people do it, but then they're not as serious. So it's just like, oh, I gotta let them go. I gotta let them do their thing because we gotta get this done. We gotta do this. We gotta do this. And they're just like, well, nah, I ain't got time. I ain't got this. I ain't got that. So it's just like, well, it's definitely harder to do what you want to do with people like that. So like, he's definitely Ty's one of the people that are like, let's get it. Always about it. Serious about his craft. You can see it in the upgrades in the studio and just talking to him. He's serious about his craft. Where he came from, just playing guitar and then doing what he's doing now. Like, huh? It's just crazy how all that works out. So it's not always like a clout thing to me. So it's like, you can be cool with somebody. You are both pushing something that you're both working on together as a collab. So like, they'll people will see it, your people will see it, but it depends on how strong that connection is, that relationship is, and the friendship is. That can be outside of work, in the studio. We can be hanging out, doing other things. And that's what, to me, is bigger, because you never know what can happen from a friendship versus just, well, I did the song with this guy. They posted it once and that was it. I never talked to the guy again. Versus built a relationship, working together. I've been in his studio. He hadn't been in mine yet. Hit him up about that. But I want him to come through, raise the bar. So just like the connection, the long-term relationship. And that's kind of what I feel like is, to me, more important than just a feature, a song. You posted, I posted, that's it. Like, that's cool, but it ain't what I'm looking like. Relationships, long-term relationships and friendships is what I feel like builds more and gives you more potential between both parties, not just one,
Big facts, bro. Big facts, man. Before we end the interview, is there any kind of like life advice that you would leave for anybody watching?
That's a tough one. I will say this. It's definitely like, I don't know what people's goals in life are. I know when I was younger, I had a goal in life to never work a day in my life, like love what I do for a living.
Yeah.
And so there's always something that people will try to tell you that isn't true, or tell you not to do this or not to do that. But at the end of the day, at one point I wanted to be, I guess you could say, rich or have money or be successful. And I ended up thinking I was going to be an athlete. And then I had to turn the direction I wanted to go in life, and I went to the music route because I was more passionate about it at the time. I even quit doing sports just to do music. So I was trash at the time. So that's how you know. That's how you know I was crazy doing that. I was dog water and still quit football and did music. And then looking at it now, what I'm at, what I'm doing, I'm all right, Yeah. So it's definitely, I would say, never go against what you want to do in life. Always try to go for what you want to do. Always believe in your dreams, because from where I was at to where I'm at, it's like, how did you definitely turn it up 180, but where I want to go is still going to be like a 360. So I'm not where I want to be at. But like I said, from when I was 18, I'm the man right now. So now when I'm not 26, about to be 27 in 2 weeks, where I want to be at, hopefully in a few years, it's going to be like night and day. So, but it all stemmed from me wanting to go do music, right? At some point randomly, after I decided I wanted to be an athlete and play football for a living. And then I just veered my path completely. And now I'm doing okay. So I'm not where I want to be at right now, but when I was 18, I am exactly where I wanted to be at 18. So, you hit that ceiling and then you just raise it. You hit your goals and you raise it. Yeah. So that's always something that I feel like that's what life's about, right? Enjoying your life and doing what you love to do. And for the very few people, and hopefully everybody at some point can take what they do for a living and make it something that they love to do for fun. So as a hobby, turn your hobby into a career. You know, I feel like that's some of the best advice that I could give, because when you think about work and opportunities come from work, there's a lot of things that could change your life based off of opportunities. And if you're not passionate about it, if you don't love it, you're not going to care. And so if you love what you do for a living, you're going to care more and you're going to give more of an effort. And then you might arise opportunities that could change your life forever. So that's my advice, because that's some of the advice that I've taken myself. So, you know.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And a lot of times what you did before can teach you something that you need to know that you want to do now. Like when you play football, I'm sure you learned a certain amount of discipline that you apply
Right.
to yourself as an artist.
Right. Yes, don't say these things because they don't make any sense. No, it's definitely, discipline is something, because in football it was like I played 3rd through 8th grade, and then I came back. They had a new coach junior year. Me being the fastest one in the whole school, the one that could jump the highest or run the fastest. Why isn't he playing? And like, there's no way he knew of me. So like, the kids had to have said something to him, which proceeded to him to corner me into this office and lock the door and talk to me. And I'm just like, this dude's not small. This is very scary. And so that's how that happened. So then I came back junior year. And I didn't play again after that. But like I said, if anything, if I would have changed anything in my life, it would have probably been stay playing and then maybe try to go to college to get a, I would have got try to get a scholarship and a free education. I would have literally just did it for the education.
Right.
I made it to the NFL, cool, but if I just want the education for free. So that's what I would have changed. But then again, I'm doing all that. There's no way I'm where I'm at. There's no way I'm doing what I'm doing. There's no way I got what I got. So, and if I do make it like I get a good job and making good money, I've definitely missed a chunk of the development stage that I took. Like now, I've spent 6-7 years developing as an artist and as an engineer. There's a chunk that I've skipped. So I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at right now. The things that I've done, the projects with S.E. Jones, they wouldn't have happened. The songs that I made in the past, I wouldn't have made them. So, because I wouldn't have been where I was at as an artist, which I wouldn't have made that stuff. So, I wouldn't be at the studio right now working. I wouldn't have never met Russell. I wouldn't have never worked the job I worked where I met the guy I met and he took me to the studio for the first time. It just wouldn't have happened. Yeah. So, I wouldn't have been where I was at. So, I mean, to each his own. I guess I feel like I did what I was supposed to do. But like I said, even if I was going to change anything, that'd be something I would have changed. But then again, who knows where I would have ended up. So.
No doubt, bro. No doubt, man. Man, I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate your time. This has been an awesome conversation on Conversations with Character. The ATG, follow him up, hit him up, go record with him. If you're in Ohio, definitely tap in. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
The most prestigious network in the land, the Signature Series Network.